Hey, everybody, welcome to the Bar Mitzvah Party Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with the parties at bar and bat mitzvahs. And there's a lot of stories. My name is Clint. This is a test episode, what we would call the pilot, if you will. And my co-host is Gil Zuniga of ZunigaEntertainment.com. And Gil, how are you today?
I'm good. You pronounced that so perfectly.
Which one, Zuniga?
Yes, that's pretty good.
Why? How else do people pronounce your name?
Oh, various ways. If you want to go back to my childhood, it would be even uglier.
As most childhoods are.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you were German, it would be Zuniga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Probably also goes over into the Asian market. I don't know. It's really racist. So let's just move on. So when it comes to parties, now we're not talking about the ceremonies. We're talking about when people get together, and there's such a unique dynamic to bar and bat mitzvahs that people who are not Jewish or haven't been to these things, it's intense and it's multi-layered, and it carries so many unique personality disorder situations.
Oh, for sure.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Well, they take on the personality of the client, the person who's throwing the event. And sometimes that's the end client, which is the mom, the dad. And sometimes it's the party planner.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So you have very, very varying levels of people who are actually running or throwing this event, because you could be throwing it for someone or you're throwing it yourself. So
just give us the lay of the land. Like, is there for the typical sequence of the party, is there like for instance, if there was a wedding, there would be a cocktail hour, then there would be the meal and the toast and all the formalities of the first dance and all that stuff.
No, it's the bouquet. Same. It's the same for bar. Yeah, it's kind of the same for the bar bat mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah, banot mitzvah. There's all different types of mitzvahs. But you have a cocktail hour by the most part. It lasts between a half hour to an hour, sometimes an hour and 15 minutes, depending on if you've invited all your work people to your party.
Know what we haven't done? We need to just tell exactly what a bar mitzvah is. A 13-year-old kid, right?
Yeah, it's a 13-year-old kid coming of age. It's Jewish. It's like in the Latin culture, it's a quinceañera. I'm not sure if there's other ones in other cultures, but it's the only one that I can identify with.
In terms of a coming of age, the quinceañera would be 15, 16?
15.
Yeah. 15.
Or a sweet 16 party. Right. So that's coming of age. 15-year-old girl, quinceañera. So 13, coming of age for a boy or a girl, which the boys have been around for a long time, and the girls haven't been doing bat mitzvahs forever. It's only been probably the last 30 years that they've had bat mitzvahs for girls. It was only for boys for a long time. But they study. They have to study the Torah. They have to speak a Torah portion.
The Torah is for people that are Christian, it would be like the first 5 books of the Bible.
Exactly.
Right. And so a kid and that's based on like the calendar year, right? It's predetermined. Okay, it's this Sabbath, so we're talking about this part of the Torah. So that's what you're going to talk about at your bar mitzvah. Is that right?
Right, exactly. So they pick which Torah portion they're going to do. And believe me when I tell you this really quick, before I start sounding like I know what I'm talking about, I'm not Jewish. I know the only reason I know about these things is because I've done so many events, and
right.
I've learned from my clients what these things are, and just by being nosy and by asking questions. So
wait. So the very first bar mitzvah that you worked, were you really seriously like, what the heck is going on? Was it that kind of a scenario?
No, it was it was the most painful event I had ever done in my life, bar none. I was wrangled into this thing. I had no clue. It was, I was new to Los Angeles. They knew that I was a DJ. They knew that I was a singer. And I could dance because I actually went looking for a job as a dancer at this company that I went to work for. And so they saw me coming. And luckily, I was with probably the godfather of bar and bat mitzvahs as far as the circle of people that I've known since then. But it was...
Wait, who's that? Who's the godfather of bar and bat mitzvahs?
That was Mark. That's Mark Ray.
Oh, okay.
The very first party I ever did was with Mark Ray.
Yeah, you know what? I remember the company that you and I had known each other in the nightclub industry and the restaurant business. But then when you came down to Southern California, you started working for this company before I did. It was a great event company called You Should Be Dancing, and Mark Ray was the legend, but he was gone before I got there.
Right. He left shortly after I got there as well. He had probably one foot out the door when I worked with him. But that was the most horrendous experience. I could not believe it. I would rather have a root canal.
I didn't know there was a choice.
It was, if there would have been a choice, I would have said, give me the root canal.
Were you the disc jockey or the MC?
I was the disc jockey. I was the DJ with turntables. And what I didn't know was that at the end of the party, I'll cut to the end of the party where Mark Ray puts his hands on my shoulder and he says, "You made it through." and he actually said this, and he said, "And just know that it'll never be any worse than this." And I went, "That's no consolation. I just want to go have a drink. I need to go lie down somewhere," because that was.
Did what he say? Did it come to be true? Did you ever have a party?
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely was the God honest truth.
So what went wrong in that first party?
It wasn't that what went wrong. It was the setup. Here, and unless you know this world, it's if you know this world, then you when I say this, you're going to go, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Really?" It was a 4-hour kids party,
right?
With no adult supervision except for us.
Were there adults in the room or no?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that was your first party.
That was my very first introduction to bar and bat mitzvahs. We were at a Hofbräu, all-you-can-eat type restaurant on Ventura Boulevard in Encino, California. It was unbelievable. I thought, are you kidding me?
So did you do games the entire time?
Within 15 to 20 minutes, I'm like, there's no way we're going to keep this up for 4 hours. There's no way we're going to entertain 40 kids for 4 hours.
40 13-year-olds.
Yes, 40 13-year-olds and some 10-year-olds. And I mean, it wasn't that many kids in the scheme of things now as you look at parties and you've worked 1,000 bar and bat mitzvahs in your day. But then it was like we were completely outnumbered. Come on, you got to be kidding me. 40 kids, 4 hours. And do they eat at parties? Well, I thought, they'll eat, and I know now how it works. No, they don't eat. And then they eat in shifts so that you can entertain them. It's not like you guys go sit down for half hour. I would have taken 15 minutes. Sit down and eat and leave us alone so that we can regroup and I can regroup mentally and go, what have I gotten myself into?
I do remember when I was finalizing with somebody that when we talked about how long the kids will eat, it was almost like they just kind of inhale it as they walk by the buffet.
Exactly. It's always the joke when you talk to your client. And the only downtime, because I always say the same thing, the only downtime there is at a bar bat mitzvah is that 5 minutes it takes the kids to eat.
Yes. Yeah,
and everyone laughs. They all laugh because they know it's true. You're seriously kidding, but they know it's true because that's it. And I always say, and then we're back up with the kids, either doing a game or doing a line dance or dancing them or whatever. But and I didn't know that back then, so I had no clue. But I tell you, I did make it through. I didn't lose any blood. I did have to dance. I did have to sing.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. He made me sing. Mark Ray made me do anything and everything that I could do to entertain those kids.
Do you remember what you sang?
Huh? No, please. I don't remember. That was a million years ago. But he knew I was a singer and he knew I was a dancer. So I danced, I sang, I played music, I scratched a little bit on the turntables. The funny thing is I had this one kid that was like, would not leave my side. He really wanted to learn how to be a DJ. And so I was contending with that, trying to entertain, trying to back up Mark with anything that he had going musically, trying to entertain and keep this kid entertained as well, which ended up, I got like, after my first party, I got reserved for this kid's bar mitzvah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
The one that was right next to you?
Yeah, the kid who wouldn't leave my side. And Joe Heck at the time, who was like second, the vice president or the prince of DJs back then, was also on that, and he wasn't reserved. And boy, I tell you, he was really bent out of shape when he found out that I was reserved for that party and he wasn't.
Well, all right, we have to stop right there because that could go off into a whole other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a whole season of podcasts.
All right, well that was our teaser, and that's how the Bar Mitzvah Party podcast works. And we're going to have a lot more stories to tell you. And Gil, I am so excited because I know that there's no end. There's no end to the stories.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. I wish there were, but there aren't. And I have to say that I wouldn't have it gone any other way though with all those events.
Yep.
Maybe one.
And we'll tell that story too.
Yeah, we'll tell.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of the Bar Mitzvah Party Podcast.